Ho ho ho, Merry Christmas everyone. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy. This is Polderbaan, currently the only runway in use for arrivals. And normalcy has returned to some degree. Back at Polderbaan for arrivals. First airplane of the day is Delta Airlines Flight 36. It's an Airbus A330-300 returning to Amsterdam from Orlando, Florida. Now touching down after 8 hours and 16 minutes of flight. Years old, this airplane. First flight June 2016. Now, more Deltas coming up. In fact, the first A350 of the show. Delta Airlines Flight 136, A350-900 up next. Returning to Amsterdam from Detroit, Michigan. Flight time 6 hours and 50 minutes as we speak. It's a 1-year-old airplane. First flight November 2022. Good morning, one and all. Merry Christmas to you and yours. Hope everybody is doing all right. Good morning to Nigel, to Eva. Good morning, John, Maria, Ruben, YZ, Joe Schmo, Michael, Lana, Vinnie, Patrick, Wilma, goedemorgen. Herman / Koenie, Marinus, Edward, Captain Eddie Bosch, Mudviva, James, Meiloof, Lisette, Guus, 68 Twig, Steve, Francis, Richard, Daniel, Herwolf, Guus, Ewald, Galit, Jindrosek, John, more Johns and Johns, Priscilla, Rolf, good morning, Morgan, goedemorgen, one and all, Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. Why is my horizon now looking a bit off? It was looking better as I was setting up. Now, or is it just me? Let's see. Finnair Flight 1301 up next. A320 coming to Amsterdam from Helsinki, Finland. Yeah, the horizon has shifted a little bit. Funny because I checked and double checked before going live and now it's going crooked again. Hey there, Mrs. Professor, Benny, Peppy. Good morning, Merry Christmas, vrome Weihnachten. Finish butt shot coming in. It does look reasonable over here. Wow. Let's just see how it goes. Alrighty, now next up, lot flight 265 coming in from Warsaw, Embraer 175, 2 hours and 3 minutes of flight time. 11-year-old airplane, first flight January 2012. Alright, well, a lot of viewers already. Welcome one and all. Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. Hope everybody is doing fine. Bisnovat, thank you so much for your continued support. 6 months of AMS Live membership already. And Bisnovat says Merry Christmas everyone. Merry Christmas to you too, Bisnovat. Hope you're doing well. And thank you for your continued support. Looking forward to having you on as a member for many more months to come. Jerry, good morning to you too. Merry Christmas to all, he writes. Thank you for your super chat, Jerry. Merry Christmas to you too, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Jerry also just now gifted 10 AMS Live memberships. Holy cow, what a way to start the stream. Thank you so much for that, Jerry. If you are one of the recipients of the 10 memberships that were just now gifted, don't forget to say thank you to Jerry. Jerry, thank you so much for that. Welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge, those new members. Service for the runway. KLM flight 741, a 787-10 Dreamliner returning home from Cartagena. Big picture wise, this is what it currently looks like. This is looking to the south. You can see overcast conditions. It is a borderline day where in the south of the Netherlands precipitation is falling here and there, and the north looks a lot more open, and we are right at the border of the weather types. TUI flight 381 up next, 7878 Dreamliner returning from Willemstad, Curaçao. This airplane began its flight 7 hours and 44 minutes ago. 9 years old in total. First flight May 2014. Need to change the setting of the pan bar just a little bit, right? Should be better. most part it does look level. Maybe just my eyes playing tricks on me. It's always hard to find the proper level. Spirit level doesn't always give the right indication. And things are crooked over here. Anyway, mumblings of a perfectionist. This is KLM flight 758. It is another Dreamliner 787-10. This one returning home from Panama City. Took this airplane 8 hours and 42 minutes to get from Panama City to where it is right now. And this airplane began flying a year ago in June. Everybody who has joined in the meantime. Ricardo, goedemorgen kerel. Freddy Dutch, Guus, Giesje, all the other viewers who have joined in the meantime, welcome one and all. So, borderline weather to the south, more overcast, more rainy conditions. It was said that later in the day it would also become a bit more drizzly to the north. For the upcoming hours I think we should be fine over here. Looking to the north, you can even see some patches of blue between the clouds. There are some openings in terms of the wind. Still blowing from the west, although not nearly as much anymore as the past couple of days. Now, let's see our next airplane. Bit small, bit crabbing. Lufthansa flight 988, CRJ 900, long range, visiting Amsterdam from Frankfurt, Germany. Flight time 51 minutes as we speak, 13-year-old airplane in total. Began flying in February 2010. Also a very big thank you to Lana for your super sticker. Per character exaggeratedly stretching his arm forward to offer a cup of coffee. Thank you so much for that virtual cup of coffee there, Lana. Very much appreciated. Thank you so much. That is so sweet. Here is the CRJ 900. And we've got another A350 by the looks of it coming after this airplane. Another Delta A350. Just saw it appear on my little square of flight radar. If you guys want to see what it looks like when I'm streaming with the phone and the split screen, and just how small the real estate is to see your chat messages and the flight radar app. The young man Art that was photographing 2 days ago next to me also made some pictures of me. He sent them to me yesterday, or the day before yesterday I think, and he did give me permission to post a picture on the community page, so I will do that later today, just to show you what it is that I'm looking at when I'm filming. Now, next up is Delta Airlines flight 74, A350-900, returning from Atlanta, Georgia. Let's have a quick briefing in the meantime. Look at what is coming this way. Santa Claus, unfortunately, is not coming this way unless he gives the reindeers cocaine, because he's too far away. He's now in the Bering Strait. The first quad to arrive will be the A340-300 from Surinam Airways that is returning from Paramaribo. We also have a 747 scheduled to arrive just before 12:30 on their way here. In Tunisia we also have one 747 that is expected around the same time. And okay, well, they're all coming more or less simultaneously between 12:30 and 12. So between 12:30 and 1 p.m. local time is when it's going to get busy, assuming that they are going to land on this runway, or what is likely that they are going to open up the center runway as secondary runway later in the morning. But that's okay, because from this point of view with my camera we can still see those landings perfectly. Delta Airlines, flight 74 up next, A359 returning from Atlanta, Georgia. 7 hours and 29 minutes of flight time under its belt. A 7-year-old airplane, first flight March 2016. And also a big thank you to Marjut, which I probably mispronounced, Marjut, for just becoming a member of the Aurora Sky Lounge. So much for your support, Marjut, and welcome to the club. All the custom emojis now at your disposal. Use them freely and whenever you see fit. Merry Christmas, Donny MX Pictures. Goedemorgen Anne. Hey there Martin. Good morning everybody. Servus Peppy. Nick Lamb, good morning. Eddie, Merry Christmas to you and yours as well. Our next airplane is Air Canada flight 808, returning from Toronto, Canada. Was still busy with the briefing. Current runway usage, let's do a refresh. Okay, so they have opened up runway 27 again for arrivals as well. Is that really indicated? Let's have a look at the latest meter. The latest meter says just over 10 knots of wind from the west-southwest with few clouds at 800 feet, 11 degrees Celsius, so that is roughly 52 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, so not a lot of crosswind, but since they have been using runway 27 for arrivals for a while now, I guess it's just their default mode for now. It is set to become more windy later in the week over here. I think on Thursday or Friday the winds are expected to pick up again, so we'll probably see runway 27 once again being used as primary runway for arrivals. Also, Ewald, thank you so much for your super chat there. Thank you so much for that. And let's quickly go to the camera again. Air Canada, it has the sunglasses on. Ewald, thank you so much. Very much appreciated. A super chat without a message, but thank you and Merry Christmas to you and yours. This Dreamliner has sunglasses on. Not sure if it was sunny in Canada, where it left from. This airplane coming to Amsterdam from Toronto, Canada. Boeing 7878. And I think a butt shot is upon us, or is it? Yes, it is. No, it isn't. It's not taking the first exit. A belated butt shot then. Kanal Kurdistan, Russian Smirnov, Jacob Kugel, anyway, Ronald, good morning. Moose by Cisco, good morning. Ross in BC, Merry Christmas. Goedemorgen to you too. Daniel, good morning. Well, a belated off-axis butt shot then for Air Canada flight 808. Now, it does appear that the next airplane is a few minutes away still. Looks like it is going to be a Boeing 737-800 returning from Paris Charles de Gaulle. Haven't seen the firefighters yet, by the way. Fire station still closed. And the windsock indicating the current wind. Now, shortly before going live, I did already have a short chat with Officer Rudolph, who also has a Christmas shift today. Morning shift. Other than that, it is relatively quiet over here. We have one man sitting on a bench over there. And there are a few people further down the road towards the parking place of Spottersplatz. That is, I think, security. Yeah. Security car. A couple of photographers over there at the beginning of the bridge. Surinam A340 also approaching. Looks like it's going to be the number 2. Departures from runway 24, we can hear them, but I'm not able to see them yet. The question is, can we see the A340 in a minute already? The 737 is flying base and is flying towards the glide slope, so it should, I think that's the 737. Can we already see the A340? Well, that's still off the coast, so the answer is probably not. If anything, it should be more over there in the sky, if we are able to see it at all, which I doubt. I think maybe we should be able to see it. Visibility is good if we know exactly where we need to look. I think I found it. The Surinam A340. Pretty sure that that is it. Visibility, at least to the north, is remarkably good today. Kobe en Jan, goedemorgen. Mr. Patterson, good morning, Merry Christmas. And all other viewers who have joined in the meantime, you're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy and this is Polderbaan, runway 18 right. One of 2 runways being used for arrivals. Runway 27 also reopened just now. Oh right, there it is. Although looking at flight radar, I don't see any traffic going there at the moment, so could be that in practice everything is still coming to Polderbaan. The crosswind today is definitely not to such a degree that it warrants preferring runway 27 over 18 right. This is definitely well within the range of what pilots can land their airplanes in. Preacher, Kelsey, good morning. So, A340 established on the glide slope, now number 2. In the background, in the top left, in the foreground, we have a KLM 737-800, flight 1224. Coming back to Amsterdam from Paris Charles de Gaulle. Nominal flight time 43 minutes, that's par for the course. It's a 15-year-old airplane, began flying in April of the year 2008. And indeed, Anna, vortices. So apparently relatively high humidity despite the clear visibility. KLM style landing. Vacate late. Sooner to the gate. Well, that's perfectly fine. Let us focus on the first quad of the day. SLM flight 994. It's an A340-300 from Surinam Airways, returning from Paramaribo. This airplane has been flying now for 8 hours and 11 minutes on this particular flight, and this airplane has been flying in total now for 15 years. Began flying in April of the year 2008. The next airplane behind it we can already see. It is KLM flight 694, Airbus A330-200, returning from Toronto, Canada. Howdy Frits, goedemorgen, and good morning to all other viewers. Merry Christmas to you and yours. This is AMS Live, my name is Boy, and this is the Surinam Airways A340-300 coming home from Paramaribo. And a beautiful two-airplane glide slope shot. Unfortunately, the separation between the Dreamliner and the A319 that is behind it, which we might get to see in the background coming in from the right. The separation is too big for a 3-airplane glide slope shot, but I do believe, well, maybe. Or not. Was hoping for a 3-airplane shot, but separation is too big. Right, the A340. Or as John recently said, more blow dryers than hairdressers. Right, let's quickly turn back the camera to the north. The next airplane is the Airbus A330-200 KLM flight 694, the PHAOE, a 17-year-old Airbus, began flying in July 2006. Coming back home from Toronto, Canada. In the background, the A319 from Lufthansa, now establishing on the glide slope. Oh yeah. Oh no. It's as if they realized they made a mistake by pulling that reverse thrust lever and thought, oh shit, let's put it back down before corporate sees it and gets angry at us. Basso asks, will there be any crazy weather there today? Absolutely not, my friend. Today it looks like a day of normal weather. The wind is expected to pick up later in the week again. That, I think, was in the predictions. Here we have the Dash 8-100 from the Coast Guard that has just taken off, presumably from runway 22, the short Schiphol Oostbaan, to do some patrolling over the sea. Flying now from east to west, south of me, towards the North Sea. You can clearly see where the cloud base is over there. Merry Christmas, Cube. Cube says, yo, I got a membership since when? I think that might have been during the last stream, shortly before my power supply gave out. JD and Austrian Wolf went on a gifted memberships frenzy. Both of them each donating 50 memberships. So that's 100 new members in 5 minutes. Might be that you are one of them, Cube. Hey there, Bina. Merry Christmas. Good to see you again. If you just tuned in in time for the A340, then that is very nicely timed. Got more 747s underway. The A380 is also underway. Not sure if we are going to see them all, since it looks like today ATC opts to open up runway 27 as secondary for landings instead of 18 center, for instance. They're all expected between 12:30 and 1 p.m. local time, which you can see in the ticker bottom left. There's a little heavy rush hour expected between 12 and 1. Obviously the plan is to stick around until then, at least. Bloodshot coming in from Lufthansa. Flight 2302, arriving from Munich in the south, in Bavaria. A319. This airplane 25 years old already. Quarter of a century, began flying in June 1998. And Austrian Wolf says we have a viewer that is coming in on KLM flight 767, the A330. What's the estimated time of arrival? And where is the airplane coming from? Probably from... well, no. I say probably from the west. I say hopefully from the west, but that is, of course, remains to be seen. Bonaire, okay, or Sint Maarten. Okay, so that is an airplane that is arriving from the west. That bodes well, means that there's a high likelihood that we are going to see it land on this runway. What's the estimated time of arrival? And if you're seated on the right hand side next to a window, also, where are you seated? Maybe I can zoom in. If you light the torch of the flashlight of your mobile phone, we might be able to pick you up then. Right, 2 airplanes up next. Embraer 175 returning from Prague and an Embraer 190 returning from Zurich. Also a big thank you to Bradley for your super chat. Bradley says good morning and Merry Christmas. Thanks for sharing the planes from my favorite international airport AMS, Brad Smith, Chattanooga, Tennessee. Merry Christmas to you and yours as well, Bradley. Thank you so much for your very generous super chat, and I'm more than happy to oblige. Glad you're liking the stream. Hope everybody is. If you are liking what you're seeing, don't forget to drop a like. Helps spread the content to other viewers like yourself who enjoy stuff like this. Hey! Has Captain Willie switched sides and has he started or she started flying Embraer 175s now? That was a nice wheelie. Not Captain Wheelie record long though, but definitely a nice one. Kelsey says 11:05, okay. We'll have to wait and see. If it stays dry, I will still be around by then, so looking forward to seeing that airplane arrive over here. QJYT celebrating 2 months of membership says Merry Christmas from Netherlands. QJ, dankjewel, thank you so much. Merry Christmas to you too, thank you for your continued support. And here's to another 2 months of you having you being a valued member over here on the channel. Now, I did feel a few droplets just now. But as you guys could see and can see if I zoom out, we are right on the border of more dark weather south of us and more happy weather. Well, at least there's still one patch of blue, bit of blue sky over there to the north. Our next airplane is a Boeing 737-900 arriving from Geneva. Now, let's have a quick look at the weather radar, see what is cooking over here. So, quick refresh. This is the weather radar of the past hour, and we are over here at the yellow square. So you can see rain is, or at least droplets are passing south of us, but the majority of precipitation will pass south of us and not over us. So it's probably going to be just a few droplets every now and then, occasionally. Hey there Justin, Merry Christmas to you and yours as well. Santa was kind, absolutely. Santa is always kind, as am I. This is KLM flight 1926, returning from Geneva, 737-900, touching down after an hour and 13 minutes of flight time. Years old, this airplane. It began flying in October 2001. Hadi Martin Air, goedemorgen. Merry Christmas to you as well. Hope you're doing well. Lana asks if there are any coots. That's a good question, Lana. I did see a couple of ducks as I was walking up here further downstream. I think they might have swum further south. If you look past the bridge, there are a few birds in water. Closer by though, I don't think that there are any at the moment. No, that's driftwood or something. Honestly, I cannot recall having seen these little protruding peninsulas, for lack of a better term, a couple of months ago. It seems that all of a sudden they constructed them. Now, waterfall sounds you can hear from over there. Did see Harry the Heron as I was walking up here, but he too seems to have fled. And further to the north, the water is also devoid of any birds at the moment. I did see one of the crow family members doing a flyby. It was a quiet flyby, so I think it was Cheryl and not Russell, because Russell is always loud, always begs for attention. Now, there is another airplane approaching the glide slope from the north. A320. just turned onto the glide slope. There are 3 airplanes approaching. It's said that runway 27 was open for arrivals, but in practice, looking at flight radar, I don't see any, and I haven't seen any yet. So pretty sure that this is the de facto only runway still for arriving traffic. Merry Christmas to you too, Blissful Kitty. And Marvin, good morning, Merry Christmas. Christophe, good morning. Merry Christmas to you and yours as well. All other viewers who have joined in the meantime, good morning. We are going to see, we might get to see a 3 airplane glide slope shot. The second airplane will arrive from the left in a few moments. KLM 737-800 returning from London Heathrow. From the east, from the right, there's a 777 approaching. That is coming in from Shanghai. Airplane number 2. Clearly visible now. Looks like it has overshot the glide slope just a little. So basically 2 airplanes coming in then from the right in a moment. Oh, it was Russell. Russell making a ruckus and faking an attack on me. He came flying right towards me. I think he wasn't happy that I called him loud, but yeah, that's just being factual, not being opinionated here. Zooming out a little bit, we can now see that the first 2 airplanes are on the glide slope, and with a little bit of luck we should see a 777 approach from the right in a few moments. Marius, Merry Christmas, tuning in from Corfu. Thank you for your kind words. Great stream as always, he says. That's something else entering from the right. Flock of birds. They too sometimes cross. And oh wait, was that no, more birds. Just flocks of birds. Okay. This is Air Arabia Maroc flight 127 coming to Amsterdam from Tangier, Morocco. A320 having landed after 2 hours and 41 minutes of flight. 7-year-old airplane. We are going to see an Arabic butt shot. This particular airplane began flying in January 2016 for the first time. Hadi Angela, fijne kerst. Merry Christmas. Good to see you again. Hope all is well. And Mark, absolutely, the bird scarers have their work cut out at Schiphol. 24/7, 365, at least 4 of those vehicles patrolling day and night, setting off fireworks every now and then. They also have a sound effect board with predator bird sounds that can also chase away the birds in a not too intrusive manner. This is KLM flight 1002. 737-800 coming back home from London Heathrow. If you pay close attention to the nose, you will see that this has the previous standard livery still, the only one in the fleet if I recall correctly. Straight line between blue and white from front to back. It's a subtle difference with the latest iteration of the standard livery of KLM. But if you know where to look, you can see it instantaneously. Wilma has to go. Thank you so much for joining, Wilma. Enjoy the rest of your Christmas day. Fijne kerst. Mocht ik je verder niet meer zien vandaag. Runway 24 being used for departures. Right, next up, China Cargo Airlines Flight 209, 777 freighter, coming in from Shanghai, China. This airplane has been flying for 11 hours and 23 minutes to get here so far. It's a relatively new airplane, 1 year old, began flying for the first time in July 2022. A couple of narrow bodies are behind it. And does look like, due to the increased cloudiness there north of us, we can only see 2 airplanes at a time. That's a pity. Let's look and listen. These triples from China do know where to find the reverse thrust lever, so fingers crossed. Not too bad, not too bad. Now, Alan, good morning, mate. Thank you so much for your super chat. Big Al. Alan writes, good morning, boy, you legend. A happy Christmas to you and your family. A live stream on Christmas Day. Awesome. Thank you so much for that and for joining, Big Al. And Merry Christmas to you and yours as well. And all other viewers who have joined in the meantime, Merry Christmas to you. Welcome to the show. This is AMS Live. My name is Boy. We're standing at the Polderbaan, runway 18 right. At the moment, the only runway in use for arrivals. Normalcy in terms of wind has returned to the Netherlands. We still have a bit of wind from the west, but nowhere near as windy as it has been over the past couple of days. It's going to be temporary, or at least that's what the weather forecasts are saying. Later in the week, we should see more wind again. Thursday, Friday are expected to become windy again, so might be another couple of days going to runway 27 for arrivals then, weather permitting. Indeed, Blissful Kitty, at least it's dry. Absolutely right. That is already something to be happy about. Elaine and Steve, Merry Christmas to you both as well. Hope everybody is doing all right. Right, back to the narrow bodies for the time being. This is British Airways Flight 430. It's an A319. Arriving from London Heathrow. Standard flight time, roughly 40 minutes, 40-45 minutes is typical. It's an A319, 23 years old. This particular airplane began flying in September of the year 2000. Is there a British butt shot in the making? I think there is. In fact, in a few seconds. A bit more to the left, come on. You know you want to. There we go. British butt shot established. Now, Andre202, thank you so much for a very generous super chat just now. No message adjacent to it, but thank you so much. Merry Christmas, Andre, and thank you so much for that very generous super chat. And Craig says, hey, watching from Spain, smiley. Hey there, Craig, good morning. Merry Christmas, Feliz Navidad, I should probably say then. Right, little Embraer 175. How can you see it's an Embraer 175 quickly? Look at the winglets. They're outward pointing and relatively large. If you compare that with the Embraer 190, and I'm pretty sure that we are going to see a few more of them as well. You'll see that the Embraer 190 has relatively less tall winglets that are positioned more upright. If there are no winglets on the airplane, it has big ass engines. It is probably an E2 Embraer 195. And another butt shot has been established. Also, a big thank you to Marco Plaggenborg, just now also super chatted. Very much appreciated. Thank you so much, Marco. Merry Christmas to you and yours. Now, Ethan says Merry Christmas from Maastricht. Tuning in all the way from the southeast of the Netherlands. Is that another flock of birds? I think it is, yeah. There are quite a few flying around today. Airplanes also flying around today. This is KLM flight 1228, 737-700. Returning from Paris Charles de Gaulle with the one size fits all tail. So on the stubby fuselage it looks relatively tall. Always looks a bit out of proportion. But that's just my personal opinion. 737-700, 45 minutes of flight time. 14-year-old airplane, first flight November 2009. Hey Per, good morning, tuning in from Sweden. Now, next up is Aeromexico flight 25. Early today. All right. The daily flight from Mexico City to Amsterdam, flight 25. As always, flown on a 7878 Dreamliner. Passing traffic from the left for the pilots. Flight time, 9 hours 42 minutes. Standard livery, not the Quetzalcoatl, unfortunately. One of my personal favorites. So many small details that you can see on the Quetzalcoatl. It will return eventually. 9-year-old airplane, first flight March 2014. And these pilots also typically know where to find the reverser. Today too we were not disappointed. Very nice. Hey there Chris, tuning in from South Australia. Merry Christmas and good evening. Now, does look like flight radar is not showing the immediate... Oh wait, it's just a bit further to the north. Turkish A330 up next, flight 1951. And Lana, thank you so much for your super chat. Hele fijne dagen en goed en gezond 2024. Nice, happy holidays and a good and healthy 2024, she writes. Thank you so much, Lana. Jij ook. Hele fijne dagen en een gezond 2024 alvast. Now, before we are entering the new calendar year, I'm definitely planning on doing at least a few more live streams. But that's all weather dependent. Our next airplane is slowly but surely coming this way. It's Turkish Airlines flight 1951, Airbus A330-300. coming in from Istanbul, Turkey. Normally speaking, that flight is around 3 hours. Today, 3 hours 23 minutes, a bit longer than normal. Must have had a bit of headwind underway. The airplane is 11 years old. Its first flight was in April 2012. Does look like the clouds are in the way ever so slightly. Hey there, Darren. Good morning and Merry Christmas to you too. Hopefully in London things have calmed down in terms of wind as well a little bit. Yo! It is the ultimate Alvin! Good evening, mate. What's going on, mate? Merry Christmas. Just now gifting 5 memberships, which as a moderator is absolutely unnecessary. You're doing more than enough as a valued moderator as it is already. Thank you so much, Alvin. Merry Christmas. Hope you are doing well. And Ultimate has the approval of the Ultimate. Right. Quite a crab, absolutely. In the top left, the next airplane, behind it visible 737-800 from Tarom, returning from Bucharest, the daily flight. Today a 737, not the baby bus, the A318. Now, this Turkish A330-300 has been flying for 11 years already. Began flying in April of the year 2012. They do have the potential to be very loud when they use the reversers. Turkish sometimes does that, so fingers crossed. Let's look and listen. That was not what I had hoped for. Now, to compensate, we do get to see a nice butt shot, so gotta take the bitter with the sweet, I suppose. Now, also a warm welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge Marco, who just now became a Valiant member. Thank you so much for your support. Welcome to the club. Best seats in the house. They're very comfy. Feel free to use all the custom emojis at your disposal whenever you want. I did see an airplane take off from 24 just now. So we do still have decent visibility all around. This is looking to the south, and we are at a bit of crossroads here. This is to the west, looking to the west. This is looking to the south once again. You can see overcast. This is looking to the east. Now over to the north. It is also getting more cloudy. Still a bit more openness further to the north, to the northwest. Area of rain is passing over the south of the Netherlands, and it was said to ever so slightly move north as the day progresses, so we might be in for some precipitation later in the day as well, although I do believe that for the upcoming hours we are going to be okay over here. Now, Mike, thank you so much for your continued support. 2 months of AMS Live membership celebrating today, and he writes, great to see the A340 earlier, my favorite. Absolutely. It is a beautiful machine in its own quirky way. It's beautiful in its ugliness, or ugly in its beautifulness. I'm a bit ambivalent. Not sure if I like it or not, but it is definitely remarkable, and definitely with the color scheme of Suriname, a nice colorful airplane, and you don't see them very often anymore, at least not in the Netherlands. The only frequent visitor is the A340-300 from Suriname. This is Tarom, flight 361, also a booty shot. Coming in, 737-800. Coming home from Bucharest. Well, I keep saying home, but they're visiting, of course. Their home is elsewhere. In the meantime, also a big thank you to John, who now celebrates 3 months of AMS Live membership. He writes, "Merry Christmas, boy. Great to be here. John, it's great to have you here. Thank you so much for your continued support, and I hope you are going to stay around for a valued member for many more months to come." Thank you so much, John, and Merry Christmas, of course. And Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. Now, 2 airplanes on the glide slope. Does look like at the moment it is a bit more open to the north. The first airplane to arrive is an ITA A320neo flight 108, arriving from Rome. 2 hours and 7 minutes of flight time. The airplane behind it is also an A320neo, but from EasyJet, arriving from Geneva. And Anna says Corendon 350 in 30. Big Al says, "I didn't realize that Schiphol airport was so big. Great work, Beatty." Well, it is one of the busiest airports in the world. But it doesn't show that much because, well, actually I think Schiphol has too many runways. There's always a separation between inbound and outbound traffic, and that is, I think, a big downside, particularly for live streamers. It's a bit dull in that you only see one type of traffic all the time, unless the wind changes and they go from one to the other. But you never see both simultaneously, unless it is windy, like the other day. Back on Thursday, when later in the afternoon, because of the strong westerly wind, runway 27 was the only runway, period, both for inbound and outbound. Of course, the silver lining of Schiphol is that you can see everything really up close without any fences in between. Hadi Gillard, goedemorgen, Merry Christmas to you too. Ooh. Birds galore today. Hadi Amjad, tuning in from Iraq. Nice to see you. Merry Christmas. Welcome to the show. If you're new to the channel, don't be afraid to say hi. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Many people watching, a lot of them are knowledgeable and all of them are friendly. It's not mandatory, but do feel free to interact if you want to do so. This is EasyJet flight 27866. It's an A320neo arriving from Geneva. Flight time 1 hour and 9 minutes. Austrian registered airplane, 4 years old, first flight July 2019. And indeed, Koen, that ITA had a beautiful livery. The Azzurro from ITA, I think, looks even better than the blue of KLM. Might be blasphemy to say that in the Netherlands, but get the impression that the wind is picking up a little bit. It's definitely getting a bit stronger than it was at the beginning of the stream. It does feel like it is coming from the southwest, so it's not exactly from the west as it was on days prior. EasyJet butt shot, question mark. well, a delayed one perhaps, but it's not vacating via the first exit. We are in line with the first exit. So any airplane taking that exit, we should see directly from behind. Martin, good morning, Merry Christmas, tuning in from Santander in Spain. Nice to see so many people from so many places all over the world tuning in. Mark says, new to the channel today, do you live stream from other airports or just mainly Amsterdam? Well, for the time being it is Amsterdam only. I definitely have ideas of maybe going to other airports somewhere later in the future, but for the time being I'm sticking with Amsterdam. Next up, Fly Pigs, Pegasus. And everybody sees Fly Pigs, reads Fly Pigs in the logo that is on the side of the airplane. Flight 1251 A321neo, arriving from Istanbul. 3 hours and 28 minutes underway. Normally speaking around 3 hours Istanbul, Amsterdam, so there's definitely headwind underway from Istanbul to Amsterdam today, it seems like. This airplane is brand new, began flying in January 2023, and vortices, you can see them. Shot to boot. Hey Sander, Merry Christmas man. Good to see you, hope all is well. Good morning North Sky Aviation. Sarah, good morning. Up early or up late? Probably up late. What's the time difference between Boston? Oh, 6 hours, right? Boston. West, East Coast, so 4:48 then, if I did my math correctly. Where is it up early then? Might also be up early then. Now, glide slope looks a bit empty. Let's have another quick look at the current status quo then, shall we? So, begin where we left off last time, the weather radar. This is the past hour, and the few droplets that we felt, we're just north of the area of rain, and what rain there passes is not a lot, as you guys can see. And it's time to go to the METAR. The METAR at the moment says 12 knot wind from 250 degrees, visibility 10 kilometers or more, few clouds at 800 feet, temperature is still 11 degrees Celsius, that is roughly 52 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm copying the METAR and we'll paste it into the ticker in a moment. Yeah, so the runway usage as mentioned in the ticker is still current. This is the only runway in use for arrivals. Now, it seems that Santa is MIA. We did see Santa fly earlier in the Bering Strait, but maybe he got taken down. We should be able to see him on the radar normally speaking, but we don't anymore. We've got a couple of Queens inbound, and majority of the quads will be arriving between 12:30 and 1. This one just shortly before 12:30. This one 12:48 right now. The Emirates A388 12:44. The Saudia 1 p.m. Martin Air or KLM 3:30, that is later. This is 2:30. And Qatar nearly 5 p.m. So not much that we are going to see. Now let me quickly paste the METAR into the ticker so that you guys can read it back. I'm almost there, and save. Right. Hey there, David. Merry Christmas to you too. Now, let's see. Our next airplane is approaching. Air France, up and away. Nice to see still some openness in the sky north of us. We're right on the edge of where to the south it is more cloudy and to the north it is more open. Visualization of the wind in chimney smoke. And I'm wondering if those were beets, but they are not beets. Looks like a mound of grass. There's always activity around the airport taking place. We have acres of land. Well, the pitch is looking lovely today. You can see it's been a very soaking wet fall. It's going to be one for the books. Record wet. Ever since we kept track of weather, which I believe started in the Netherlands in 1906 or 1907 or so. We've had the wettest fall in years. There's always something to see, there's always something to do. Well, maybe not today because it's Christmas, but a lot of agricultural activity, construction. Anyway, our next airplane is Air France flight 1794. Arriving from Lyon, it's an Embraer 170. Flight time 1 hour and 13 minutes. Well, if wind continues to pick up, I might have to go back to using image stabilizer. I've switched it off, but might have to enable it again. Up. Exclamation mark. Hey JD, vroege Weihnachten my friend. En Art, goedemorgen, ja, morning. Art, the talented photographer that took some pictures of me as well. As I said earlier, later today I will upload one of his pictures and you can see what I'm looking at when doing the streaming. Split screen on the phone. Hey, there is an airplane approaching on the glide slope to center. It's in fact an airplane returning from Innsbruck from Transavia. Hey Gosse, goedemorgen. Merry Christmas, buddy. German Airways flying for KLM, Embraer 190 arriving from Bristol. Now the German Airways Embraer 190s, KLM rented initially for a couple of months because of engine problems with their E2 Embraer 195s. Big chunk of the fleet was grounded for a prolonged period of time. Now all those problems are gone, are no longer there. The entire E2 Embraer fleet is flying again, and these airplanes, the rental has been extended until after the winter season, so probably for a few more months we are going to see them, and then they will probably be going out of the, yeah, what's the right way to describe it? They'll no longer be part of the fleet of KLM at least. All right, next up, Transavia flight 6602. This is a Transavia 737-800 returning from Innsbruck. The First airplane to go to center. This is fully zoomed in with optical zoom. I can also enable digital zoom, which will enlarge what we are seeing right now. You can apply a bit of additional digital zoom without compromising the image quality too severely, so might be something we can do if at a later stage the queens that are expected, or the A380, knowing my luck, will land on 18C then. But at least I'm happy to see that center is now the secondary runway instead of 27. When 27 opens up, we cannot see the traffic that well. Now, Austrian Wolf said that EB, our viewer in KLM flight 767, is 7 minutes out. That is cool. Is he sitting on the right hand side? Has anybody established that? Do we know where to point the camera? Can we do a flashlight torch, shine the torch moment? That's the question. Now, also a big thank you to our ultimate Alvin, who celebrates 7 months of membership. Blanket Merry Christmas for everyone. Well, blanket Merry Christmas to you too, mate. Thank you so much for your continued support and everything that you're doing as a very valued moderator. Even if you were to stop moderating, I hope that you are going to stay in the chat for many more months to come as a very valued member. Cheers, Alvin, for your continued support, mate. And Maria says on the left side, okay, well, that is unfortunate. So we cannot capture a wave then with the phone, but we are going to hopefully see the landing on this runway. It has happened before that, for instance, airplanes arriving from LAX were being assigned to the center runway when they were doing a runway inspection of the Polderbaan. Now, those of you with a keen eye will see that this is a Transavia that looks different from the others. It's a rental. It's an official rental by KLM. This is the previous standard livery of Transavia, rainbow on the front. 737-700. Returning from Copenhagen, flying as KLM flight 1126. Nominal flight time 1 hour and 6 minutes. Copenhagen, always roughly an hour of flying. The airplane 20 years old, first flight February 2003. Alrighty. I do see the light of the next airplane. I'm also feeling a few droplets, and while we are in a moment of relative quiet, let me also enable image stabilizer once again. With increasing wind, because we get increased jitter and it mitigates it a little bit, partially. QJ asks if privilege style is still flying for KLM. I don't know. That's a good question. It's been a while since I last saw a privilege style airplane over here at Schiphol, period. So not sure if they still visit Amsterdam. If not flying for KLM, then for another carrier. We did see them more frequently over the summer last year. Right, now our next airplane is KLM flight 1422, arriving from Birmingham, 737-800, 38 minutes of flight time. The airplane is 16 years old. Its first flight February 2007. Further up ahead we can see some lights of the next airplane, or at least I can over here. But I'm not going to zoom out to show you. Another 737. In the meantime, a Swiss A220-300 is approaching to center. And we get to see a little wheelie over here. Very nice. Also, I'm seeing KLM 767 established on the glide slope for Polderbaan, number 2. That Swiss A220 is over there, arriving from Zurich. Flight 730 Bombardier C Series 300 or BCS 3, of course later rebranded to Airbus A220 when Airbus took this airplane over. Hey Jan Willem, fijne feestdagen to you too. Bina signing off again. Thank you for joining us, Bina. Good night, Merry Christmas, take care. Hopefully see you soon. Now, as another KLM 737 just landed. Photo bombs the moment. We'll turn back to the A330 coming after that airplane has landed. Right. Alright, now EB on board this airplane, our viewer, returning from Bonaire. This is KLM flight 767, Airbus A330-300. Flight time 8 hours and 5 minutes. This airplane is 11 years old. Its first flight was in February 2012. Wind is picking up. You can probably hear it. I can definitely tell over here. Wind is blowing from the southwest. 27 no longer in use. The crosswind component is not so severe that it warrants opening up 27. They did use it as a secondary runway for arrivals earlier, but now it is back to the old configuration that you typically see with moderate winds from the southwest. Namely parallel landings to the south on 18 right and center. That is good news, ladies and gentlemen. Because what that means is that those 747s and A380 that I showed you a couple of times already, and that are expected to land over here between 12:30 and 1, roughly speaking, will land on a runway that we could clearly film from over here. Just to give you an idea, there's 777 now landing on center. This is just with optical zoom. If I engage digital zoom to make things a bit bigger without compromising the image quality, you can see that as long as they land on either of these two runways, we are going to be golden when it comes to filming those 747s and the A380. Right, an LL 777-200 flying to center, flight 337, arriving from Tel Aviv, 4 hours and 38 minutes of flight time. 777-200 ER, 16 years old, first flight June 2007. Over to our runway is an Embraer 175 coming, arriving from Aberdeen, KLM flight 1442. And Christian is informing us that the Corendon A359 is expected in about 6 minutes. That is good news. And this is the white-nosed Aberdeen flight. So it has had a white Christmas. Just a bit of nose candy still on the cone. Or decorative sugar if it had some Christmassy treats. Hey Ronnie, JH Fotografie, goedemiddag. Merry Christmas to you both. And to all other viewers joining us in the meantime. JH asks until when the plan is to stick around. Well, don't know the exact time yet, but as always is the case, my plan is to stick around at least until the Emirates A380 has landed. There are several 747s underway now. So just west of Ireland there is this 747 expected around 12:18 local time. Singapore Airlines 12:44 expected time of arrival. The Emirates A380 approaching Austria is expected also 12:44, and behind it is another 747 that is expected around 1 p.m. So the plan is to stick at least around until 1 p.m. This airplane will arrive 3:30, this one will arrive 2:30, this one will arrive even later. And Sanda is really up north of the northern tip of Greenland. Does look like it is on his way to Europe, so who knows, we might also get to see Sanda and his sleigh. Hey there, Aeolus Capital, Merry Christmas to you too, my friend. Yeah, until the battery is empty. Well, normally I would stream 2 streams with 1 full power tank, but my streams normally are 3.5 to 4 hours at the latest. On Thursday, the stream was 4 hours and 40 minutes, and I had been streaming for 5 hours on Saturday. And I did not charge in the meantime, so I severely underestimated how long I had been streaming in total. It was almost approaching 10 hours, and yeah, no shit that the tank runs empty then at some point, powering all the electrical equipment. PJR says hello from Manhattan. Hello to you too, my friend. Merry Christmas to you and yours, and to all other viewers as well. Merry Christmas. The Crow family also wishes you a Merry Christmas. Flying information. And settling on the lanterns as is their custom. Right. Corendon A359 up next, returning from Curaçao, flight 598. This airplane began flying 7 hours and 59 minutes ago. It's a brand new airplane. It's a hybrid livery. The rental company World to Fly has its logos still on the engine casings and on the tail. And the logo of Corendon is on the fuselage. Brand new airplane, began flying in May this year. David says, I have only just found you, just subscribed, and already you're one of the favorites. Thank you so much for your kind words there. Very much appreciated. I'm happy that you are enjoying the content, and of course I hope that everybody is. Make sure that if you are liking what you're seeing and you haven't done so already, that you add to the pool of likes. It helps to spread the content to other viewers such as yourself who appreciate live streams such as this. So you're not doing it for me, but you're doing it for those others that can also sometimes see this content. Now, it is a bit of a pity that parallel to this airplane, a 777 from Qatar is approaching for center. Obviously, not going to pan away from this landing. Maybe we can fit it into the same shot at some point. Right, up next on this runway, Iberia Express A320, returning from Madrid, and while that airplane is approaching, it does look like things over here, the northern half of the sky is more open. In fact, I spy with my little eye a quad jet passing by. So fly. That looks like it might be an A380. It is still west of me, but north of me. Could be Emirates returning to Dubai. If it is an A380, it almost certainly is Emirates. It does look a little bit like an A380, insofar as I can judge. So how about that? Even a bit of contrail visible over here. Northern half still very much open. Southern half, well, I have to say, this is the first time I'm now also seeing a bit more opening of the sky south of me. That doesn't look too bad at all. Right. Iberia Express, flight 3722 up next. An airplane coming to Amsterdam from Madrid, an A320. Flight time 2 hours and 2 minutes. That is par for the course. It's a typical flight time for Madrid, Amsterdam. This airplane is 16 years old. Began flying in October of the year 2007. Larissa, goedemorgen. Vrolijk Kerstmis. Merry Christmas to you and yours. Hey Grietje, Merry Christmas to you too. Hey there Saeed, Merry Christmas to you too. And Ken says that it was indeed an A380 from Emirates from Manchester on its way to Dubai. Awesome. Mark also confirming it. Cool, 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 cool. So yeah, you even get to see a contrail. Now next up is going to be KLM flight 1472. It's an Embraer 190, once again from German Airways. Crabbing a little bit, coming home from Glasgow. 56 minutes of flight time. The airplane itself 17 years old, first flight January 2006. Hey Tiriliri, vroege Weihnachten, Merry Christmas to you too. And to your mom and dad. Now, been going without heated gloves. I am going to switch now and also start up the hand warmer for the other glove. Cyber L, Row Aviation, Ludmilla, Madeira Aviation, Jogdai. Merry Christmas to you all, and to all other viewers who have joined in the meantime. Merry Christmas to you and yours as well. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy. This is the Polderbaan runway 18 right. At the moment, one of two runways being used for arrivals. Parallel arrivals take place on runway 18 right and on runway 18 center. Bit of normalcy returning to Schiphol Airport. We have wind from the southwest, but nowhere near as windy as it was earlier in the week. Our next airplane is going to be Iceland Air Flight 500, coming to Amsterdam from Reykjavik. It's max 9, visible over there. And indeed, maybe a little sun even on the way PJR. Not sure. Looking behind me, the sun of course now being more in the south. Almost reaching its highest point in an hour or so from now, an hour and 15 minutes. So I have to look behind me. And well, we can still do that quickly. As you can see, the sun is probably somewhere over there. Would be nice if we were to see some sunshine, but if we are actually going to see some sunshine remains to be seen. Kestrel hovering perfectly still, doing some hunting as the airplane is moving in the background. Iceland Air Flight 500, Boeing 737 MAX 9, arriving from Reykjavik. 2 hours and 32 minutes of flight time. Airplane 2 years old, first flight August 2021. quiet as a mouse. Now, last week when it was more windy and landings took place on runway 27, we were able to witness that when those Maxes do apply reverse thrust, they can get nice and loud. Same for the old school NG 737s and also those A320s. The entire A320 family can also get gnarly loud. Latvia Balkanu Musica says Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you too. And apologies if I totally mispronounced your name, which I probably did. Welcome one and all. Our next airplane is an E2 Embraer 195. The next airplane is already visible. I think if the separation is not too tight and not too loose, we might even get to see 3 airplanes on the same glide slope. Or at least the weather will allow us to be able to see that. If ATC positions the airplanes closely enough behind one another. That is always the question, if they're going to do that. Big ass engines, small fuselage, no winglets. This is an E2 Embraer 195. This is KLM flight 1278, returning from Edinburgh. Flight time an hour precisely according to flight radar. Relatively new airplane, of course, 2 years old, first flight March 2021. Paradise says, fijne kerst vanuit Hinderlopen. Jullie ook fijne kerst. And the pronunciation was good, okay. Lucky guess, I suppose. More luck than skill. And Tukatri wonders what the crosswinds are. If you look in the meter, you will see the ticker that I last copied in it. It was 10 or so knot wind from 250 degrees. Not too severe. We have seen worse over here. But it is a good idea to update the ticker with the latest meter again, which I think we can do after this airplane has landed. I don't see the next airplane already closely behind it. This is KLM flight 1230, one of the many flights between Paris, Charles de Gaulle and Amsterdam. 737-800, flight time 46 minutes. Now, in the meantime, a big thank you to Chavs, who now has a yellow logo for members, being a member for 6 months. Chavs writes, Merry Christmas, boy, and all from Newcastle in the United Kingdom. Thank you so much for that, Chavs. Merry Christmas to you and yours as well. And thank you so much for your continued support there. Hope that you are staying on as a valued member for many more months to come. Thank you so much, Chavs. Now, let me quickly go to the... Well, first of all, runway usage. Okay, runway 24, and the only runway being used for departures and parallel arrivals. And let's also update the METAR, shall we? Wind is switching a bit more to the southwest and more southerly. The variation just over 10 knots, 12 knots or so. Let me quickly go back into the ticker, update the meter. I will update runway usage after that, but can I do that still? I think I might be able to make that. 18 right, 18 C. Right, ticker is again completely current. Just in time for the landing of a 737-800 KLM flight 1724 returning from Brussels. Mussels from Brussels, or sprouts. Flight time 29 minutes. The airplane 23 years old. First flight was July 2000. Latvia asks if there are some Air Baltics expected. I don't think so, but I don't know for sure. I do know that they often fly back in the morning, but I'm not sure if there are any arriving. I do believe that there are a couple of flights between all the destinations from Air Baltic and Amsterdam each day. KESTREL nicely hovering and also not too far away. Might be even too nearby to be fully sharp with the manual focus, which I always have set to infinity. There we go, autofocus. Focus in on it. Wow. The gift that keeps on giving, it keeps hovering there perfectly still. I'm not touching the camera or anything. It is just hovering perfectly still. I will go back to following the airplane that is now approaching to the center runway. The number 8 worldwide, Garuda Indonesia. Beautiful retro livery, so I'm going back to a different focus setting. And also, just to give you guys an idea of what we can do with additional digital zoom over optical zoom. Let me just enable it. Ah, torenvalkje. There we go. Garuda Indonesia. Retro livery. Flying to Amsterdam from Jakarta. That might even be a little bit too far zoomed in. The Republic Indonesia clearly says so on the tin. Lovely retro livery. Now this airplane, a 777-300ER, has been flying for 14 hours and 56 minutes on this flight. Nearly 15 hours. Holy cow. About to touch down over there on the center runway. And that the firefighters are also out, and that was also the bird controller. Now, firefighters we will see appear from the left. Once they did their round, they are now going to the northern threshold of the runway, and we see some spray from the reverser. Oh, wow. Johannes Willem Wanders, thank you so much for an extremely generous PayPal donation that I just received notification of. Holy cow, thank you so much for that. That is a truly generous donation there. Thank you so much for that. That is amazing. Now, as I'm zooming out, and we can see the firefighters and the bird control vehicle on their round. Let me also go back to the computer and say a big thank you to Preacher, who just now gifted 10 memberships. Thank you so much for that, Preacher. Very much appreciated. If you are one of the recipients of the 10 gifted memberships from Preacher just now, don't forget to thank him. Say thank you and welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge. Those new members, feel free to use the custom emojis now at your disposal. Mr. Wanders and Mr. Preacher, thank you both so much for very generous donations there just now. So, thank you so much. What is going on now is that the bird controller is doing a little patrol round and a runway check. That is also the reason that traffic you are seeing on Flight Radar is now flying to the center runway. This is only a temporary situation. Oh. Can use some additional zoom. Although it only magnifies what you can already see, so it does not do the image quality that much good, which is why I refrain from using it normally. But it can be handy when smaller airplanes, for instance, are landing on the center runway, such as this Embraer. Embraer 190s now coming into center. The one we saw just now arriving from Hanover, the other one that we are going to see here arriving from Munich. This is KLM flight 1792, Embraer 190 arriving from Munich. Okay. Flight time 1 hour and 14 minutes. This airplane is 5 years old. First flight February 2018. And the firefighters have turned around the northern threshold. They are coming this way. Now, knowing them, they are going to wave, sound the horn, maybe even turn on the siren momentarily to greet us and all other people who have gathered around the place over here. It's not very busy. It is, of course, Christmas Day. Here they come. They're going bonkers, as they always do. Nice chaps. Always in for some showmanship. Great stuff. Now, Mark, also thank you so much for your very generous super sticker just now. Mark Den Heijer with a character holding their hands together saying thanks. Thank you so much, Mark, for a very generous super sticker just now. Very much appreciated. Thank you so much, Mark, and Merry Christmas to you and yours, and to all other viewers as well. Merry Christmas. You're over here at AMS Live. My name is Boy. We are standing at the Polderbaan, where a runway inspection was taking place just now. I'm not seeing the bird control vehicle over there in the north anymore on the runway. So I guess at some moment, pretty soon, our next traffic to the center runway is going to approach. Let's also get rid of that digital zoom because I don't want to have it enabled when it isn't necessary. Right, and for the time being, we'll have to make do with traffic going to center. E2 Embraer 195 is this, KLM flight 1106. Coming in from Stockholm and has been flying for 1 hour and 48 minutes as we speak. This airplane is brand new. First flight was in January 2023. So next month it is going to celebrate its first birthday. Yay! With KLM cake, presumably. So as you guys can see, the main platform area over there in the distance, if you are new to the channel and you're unfamiliar with the layout of Schiphol Airport, the runway we are standing next to is the latest edition. Was built in 2003. Because it is so far away, removed from the main platform area, it has its dedicated ATC tower over here for inbound and outbound traffic to and from this runway. The original ATC tower, well, there is an older one, even further, an older one than this, but this is the current tower, the old tower that has been in use for a few decades now. That is adjacent to the terminal building, so most of the gates and the terminal building are over there, behind those farms in the foreground. Airplanes that land on this runway still have a considerable taxi along the line of trees over there. 10 to 15 minutes at least to get to the main platform area. Ludmilla asks, where are the ducks? The ducks were in the water earlier as I came up here. There were a couple. They earlier I thought they had swum further south past the bridge. I'm not seeing them anymore. And to be frank, I haven't seen any activity in the water over here since I've been here. No, that is just a bit of driftwood or something. Now to the north, I haven't seen any birds in the water for a while now. Here too, nothing. So the ducks seem to have gathered around the McDonald's near runway 27 and probably less exposed to the wind. That's probably the pragmatic reason why they are not here and have favored that other location. KLM Embraer 190 arriving from Gothenburg, flight 1154. As you guys can see, it is not KLM Blue, it is one of the rental German Airways Embraer 190s. Flight time 1 hour and 18 minutes. 16-year-old airplane, first flight January 2007. And I do believe the next airplane to the Polderbaan is coming. Runway inspection has finished and normal operation seems to be resuming. In fact, 2 airplanes visible already. En Hadi Liewe, goeiemorgen, fijne kerstman. Not meaning that you are a happy Santa. Geen fijne kerstman, maar fijne kerstman. Komma. You know what I mean. Next up, A319 EasyJet flight 28679. Arrival from London Gatwick, 41 minutes of flight time. The airplane 13 years old, its first flight May 2010. The next airplane behind it is a KLM Airbus A330-200. Arrival from Minneapolis. Okay, we see more. Well, the third airplane is an Embraer 190 that will be approaching from the left, but probably won't be able to capture that in the same shot. Just crossed over to mainland Netherlands. So that is still far to the left. Let's just focus on what we can see then. This is an A319. As I mentioned just now, arrival from London Gatwick, flight time 42 minutes, so that is nominal. A 13-year-old airplane, began flying in May 2010. Hey Betty, goedemorgen. Fijne kerst to you and yours. Bird controller in the background. EasyJet butt shot coming in. Alright, up next, another heavy, another Airbus A330-200. Now they do have the potential to get loud, but knowing KLM, probably is going to be a very subdued and controlled and decent landing. Nice for the passengers, a little bit dull for us. This is KLM flight 656, Airbus A330-200, arrival from Minneapolis, Minnesota. This airplane has been flying for 7 hours and 19 minutes to get to where it is right now from Minnesota. It's been flying in total now for 18 years, began flying in August 2005, the PHAOA. And if I zoom out a little bit, you can definitely see it looks nicer. It still looks nice, looking to the north. Bits of blue. Good visibility to the north, that's nice. The next airplane, very faint in the a bit at 10 o'clock. Embraer 190 arrival from Luxembourg. Now already a bit further behind this airplane due to the wake turbulence. And the Embraer 190 of course also itself not too big. So it looks like a little detail up ahead. Very nice and subdued, but it would have been a bit nicer for us if they just pulled on that reverser lever, if only for a few moments. Frohe Weihnachten, Berbhard. Und Grüße zurück. All viewers joining us, Merry Christmas to you and yours. You're watching MS Live. My name is Boy. We're standing at the Polderbaan. Currently one of two runways being used for arrivals. Wind blowing from the southwest. Just a bit more than 10 knots. So a bit more of normalcy coming back to Schiphol. Runway usage as is normal for when the wind is blowing from the southwest, parallel arrivals or just this one runway being used for arrivals, and departures take place from runway 24 and 18 left if it gets busy for outbound traffic as a secondary runway. We are at the border of more cloudy weather south of us and more open weather north of us. Earlier in the morning there was a bit of precipitation falling in the south of the Netherlands, and on 2 occasions we have felt a few droplets over here, but looking now to the south it is also looking like it is opening up. Where it was monotonously grey and overcast earlier, it now seems to open up also to the south. Initially it was said that we might get to see a few rain droplets later in the day in the northern half of the country. For now I'm not seeing it. Might be coming from the UK, but it's not coming from the south, at least by the looks of it. Is this Captain Wheelie? If it is, he is keeping the nose wheel less high than normal, the wheelie also shorter, so I think this is a wannabe. Now, a big thank you to Dave A010 for a very generous super chat. And Dave writes, "Good morning, boy, and all viewers. Merry Christmas." Thank you so much for your super chat, Dave. You a Merry Christmas. You and yours a Merry Christmas as well. Thank you so much for spending your time here today with us. I'm sure you guys all are very busy and have other things to do as well. So I'm very humbled that you are all tuning in today in such big numbers. Now, look at this. We can even see more blue and openness looking to the north. The days are lengthening and summer is upon us. It almost looks like it. Now, it is 11:49 local time. The next airplanes are approaching from the west. To begin with, a Boeing 737-800 from KLM returning from London Heathrow will be followed by a KLM A330-200 arriving from Montreal. They are still west of the field of view, but it is a good moment to have another briefing update. So let's have a look, shall we, and see what is cooking. In terms of the weather, let's begin with updating the METAR first of all. We can see the wind is now oriented southwest, more or less, varying between nearly west and nearly south. Wind speed 13 knots for Beaufort. Let me copy that and I will paste it into the ticker shortly. Few clouds at 2,500 feet. We have 10 plus kilometers visibility. There's no ceiling. The air pressure is 1,006 hectopascals. Air temperature is 11 degrees Celsius. That is roughly 52 degrees Fahrenheit if you're used to those. A refresh of the runway usage still shows that these two runways are used for arrivals, this one for departures. This is the runway we are standing next to. We are standing approximately here. The Polderbaan is what this runway is called. In terms of heavies, the heavy rush hour is upon us. I think this is going to be the first 747 to arrive. We'll be arriving at 12:18, so that is in half an hour from now. Atlas Air arriving from Atlanta. There's a Singapore Airlines 747 flying over France, just northwest of Lyon. Will be expected in 55 minutes from now. The Emirates A380 north of Munich in German airspace, expected at 12:52, so that is in an hour from now, and shortly behind it, around 1 p.m, 1:03, expected is the Saudia 747 arriving from Jeddah. More is coming, but those are expected later in the afternoon, 2:30, 3:13 and 5 p.m. So I think the plan is to stick around at least until all these airplanes have landed. So that would be until just past 1 p.m. or an hour and 15 or so minutes at least more. Now, let me quickly paste the weather into the ticker, the METAR. Our first airplane in the top of the field of view is established on the localizer and is coming this way. Right, time to get up from behind the laptop and back to the camera controls. There we go. Hey Nelly, goeiemorgen. Is het nog net? Just about, still morning. Fijne kerst Nelly. To you and yours. Right now. The next two airplanes, tightly packed, visibly behind each other. Are we going to see the third airplane, which is a Vueling A320? No, that is still too far away. It's now only turning base, still significantly west of here. I am still seeing a few contrails here and there. That's only in the sky north of me. Alright, well, our next airplane, KLM Flight 1008, one of the many flights between London Heathrow and Amsterdam Schiphol Airport. This is a Boeing 737-800. Flight time 37 minutes. That's par for the course between London and Amsterdam. This airplane 24 years old. First flight April 1999. And again, vortices emanating from the tips of the flaps, indicating relatively high humidity. Now, while we might not get to see the sun today, it does look like things are opening up a little bit. It's always nice to see. Departures from runway 24 also still very much in progress. I think if we enable digital zoom, we might even get to see what is on the sandwiches of the the air traffic controllers. We're not going to do that though, because the next airplane is upon us, and it is another heavy. It is KLM Flight 672, and looking at flight radar, it now seems that all traffic is once again coming to Polderbaan. So this probably is at the moment the only runway being used for arrivals. What time was the A380 expected again? 50 or so minutes from now, right? Right, well, it's going to be exciting to see how many of those queens and that one king are actually going to land on this runway. The fact that all air traffic now seems to be coming this way again is a clue that we will probably see the first of the arriving quads at least land on this runway. Although I'm not too sure if we are going to see all of them. Fingers crossed. Oh, and if you guys want to see in advance which runway incoming traffic is assigned to, you have to have a look at the website Omgevingsinfo Schiphol. And Ernest says, great report, what are the exact geographical coordinates to get to this exact place? Well, if you go to Google Maps and you are going to look for Spottersplaats Polderbaan, which I will type for you because you will probably not all know what you need to type in. But if you go to Google Maps and if you type in Polderbaan, if you use this term in the search bar for Google Maps, Google will take you to the parking place that you see. What's basically behind the family that is walking in the center of the field of view. You can see some people standing at a fence behind them, and you can see cars over there. That is the parking lot, that is the official Spottersplaats for this runway Polderbaan. And you can see the people are walking over a cycling path. If you leave the parking place and walk up north, you can come to this exact location. It is parallel to the runway, the cycling path. Easy to find. Bit difficult to reach though if you don't have a car. You can obviously take a bike, but if you come from Amsterdam, from the city or something, or from the airport itself, it is a bit of a challenge to get there. A320 Vueling, flight 8309. Arriving from Barcelona, now touching down. After an hour and 49 minutes, keeping up the speed relatively speaking. KLM style landing, vacate late, sooner to the gate. 8-year-old airplane, first flight April 2015. Alright, Waxa Zizek says hello everyone from a spotter from Munich. Herzlich willkommen, frohe Weihnachten. And Merry Christmas to each and every one of you who just joined us and I haven't greeted yet. You're watching AMS Live and we are in for a heavies rush hour in the upcoming hour. I forgot to count how many there were coming, but there were 3 or 4 at least, I think 4 or 5 perhaps even, plus the A380. All expected between 12 and 1. Not sure if they're all going to land on this very runway, but if they aren't landing on this runway, they are going to land on the parallel runway very likely, so we will be able to see them very well from this location regardless. This is JetBlue Flight 631, the A321neo, arriving from Boston, Massachusetts. Daily flight between Amsterdam and Boston. It also operates between JFK and Amsterdam. Now touching down, a little wobbly after 6 hours and 17 minutes of flight. Reversers, question mark. No reversers. Butt shot, question mark. No butt shot and no reversers. That is a pity. Right. No time to linger though. Crabbing away for Christmas. In the foreground, a Boeing 737-700 KLM flight 1598 arriving from Rome. Behind it is a 777-300ER arriving from Sao Paulo, KLM flight 792. And we also saw a third airplane approach from the right, the east, onto the glide slope. E2 Embraer 195, KLM flight 1780 arriving from Hamburg, Germany. And there we go, we have a 3 airplane glide slope shot established. Where is Jerry when you need him? I will take a shot of Jaeger when I get home on his behalf then. Alrighty. This airplane now touches down after 2 hours and 5 minutes of flight. That is par for the course between Rome and Amsterdam. This airplane is 13 years old. I did hear a little bit of reverse thrust use there. Another stubby 737 with the one-size-fits-all tail that is also mounted on the bigger 737s. Again, now it might be a bit blurry because my focus is set to infinity and this bird is a little bit closer by. I'm not going to autofocus because we have to go back to the next big airplane that is approaching. This is KLM flight 792. It is a 777-300ER coming home from Sao Paulo after 10 hours and 55 minutes of flight. 15 years old, first flight March 2008. Alrighty. Smooth as a mofo. That's KLM for you. For us, the viewer, a bit boring because they almost never use their reversers. They do sometimes make a wheelie, but it's all very well performed, very well executed, almost always flawless. So technically the pinnacle of landings, but sometimes a bit dull for us, but that's that's what you get with reliability. It is boring sometimes. Two airplanes visible in the foreground, the E2 Embraer 195 arriving from Hamburg, flight 1780, 15 minutes of flight time. Two-year-old airplane, first flight February 2021. They truly are quiet as a mouse, aren't they? Also when they take off, first couple of times that I saw it take off, I thought, okay, when are you going to go to full thrust? It felt like it was just doing the spooling up to stabilize the engines before going to takeoff thrust, but it was already set to takeoff thrust, but just so quiet. The same with the Airbus A220s, those Bombardier C series. They have similar engines. I think Alvin looked it up one time. They're not the same, but they are from the same family. Geared turbofan engines. Quiet as a mouse. If they work, and if they don't work, they're even quieter. Our next airplane, EasyJet A320neo, flight 23173, arriving from Glasgow, Scotland. Flight time 1 hour and a minute. A320neo, 6 years old in total. First flight May 2017. And also a big thank you to Jonathan for your super chat. Fijne kerstgroetjes uit zonnig Heemskerk. Sunny Heemskerk. Well, over here we can see that over to the north it is more sunny. But we have to make do with the sun being behind clouds, unfortunately. Jij ook een fijne kerst, Jonathan. And if you guys are having excessively much sunshine over there, feel free to send some south. We can always do with a bit more. Right, butt shot, question mark. And this is Gaza. Gaza. It does sound British. The G-U-Z-H-A. Gaza. Not the Giza, but the Gaza. Butt shot established. Hey there, Lynn, who is tuning in from New York, where it is still early, 6:07 a.m. Merry Christmas to you and yours. Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. If you just tuned in, perfect timing. Don't go anywhere in the upcoming hour. Several 747s plus the A380, all before 1 to 1:05 p.m. 2 airplanes visible on the glide slope. In the foreground, an Embraer 190 returning from Helsinki, Finland. Behind it, an Embraer 175 arriving from Newcastle, and we should be able to maybe make out number 3. Maybe open up the view. Dreamliner arriving from San Jose. Should be arriving from the left. And I'm hoping we might get to see them all 3 in the same shot. A little bit more like so. Can we keep? Still not too bad. Separation is too big, unfortunately. Right, KLM flight 1166, Embraer 190. Look at the winglets and you can see the difference between the 75. They're relatively less tall and they are more upright and less outward facing. Of course, when you look at it from the side, you can see clearly that the fuselage is longer, but from the front, when it approaches, you can clearly differentiate by looking at the wing and the winglets. Little butt shot to boot, and then it is over to the Embraer 175 arriving from Newcastle. And Ken, thank you. Atlas 747, the first of the 747s, is only 12 minutes away. So if you want to grab a fresh cup of coffee, cup of tea, or maybe use the bathroom, now you have the chance. There are, how many are there? 3 or 4? 4 or 5 maybe. Couple of 747s. Right now everything is coming to Polderbaan. I think we might get to see a few to the center. My expectation is that within the hour they're also going to open up the center runway again. 3 airplanes in one shot, although the third one is a smaller one further to the north. Hey! Mr. Biker, Yorkshire, Merry Christmas, mate. I was beginning to wonder if it was going to be the first stream in like forever without Yorkshire Biker. But I'm happy to see you, mate. And you tuned in just in time. Happy hour is upon us. Have you looked on Flight Radar? Did you see what is coming? No, not Santa, but several 747s and the A380, all between now and, well, last time I checked, 1:05 p.m. And even though Early in the morning, runway 27 was the secondary runway for arrivals. Later in the morning, it has become 18C again, as would normally be the case. So, assuming that is going to be the secondary runway that will sooner or later be open for arrivals, it means that we are going to see all of those heavies from very up close or relatively up close. Big Al says, catch you later, legend. Sure hope that you don't have to leave already, Alan. This is the best part of the stream, the last hour, where all the queens and the king are coming home. But if you do have to leave, Alan, thank you so much for joining. Merry Christmas to you and yours once again, and enjoy the rest of the day and upcoming days. I will see you again sometime soon. And thank you so much, Paul. Glad to hear you're also doing well. And Srujan says, just discovered this channel and it's amazing, and I'm from Netherlands. Vrolijke Kerstmis. Vrolijke Kerstman. And welkom. And all other viewers, if you just joined us and just discovered the channel, welcome to the show. Don't be afraid to say hi like Srujan just now did. It's not mandatory, but it's always appreciated. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Many people are watching. All of them are friendly and a lot of them are also knowledgeable. So, in terms of wind, a bit of normalcy has returned to the Netherlands. Southwesterly wind, a little bit of crabbing action, but no extreme winds. Ripples in the water, no water birds around. The chimney smoke seems to leave the chimney a bit more horizontally than was the case earlier. All around we began with overcast conditions. Now even looking to the southwest we can see patches of blue, so, and also nice lighting. A few rays of sunshine seeping through the thinner parts of the clouds. And this is KLM flight 962. It's an Embraer 175 arriving from Newcastle, having flown 52 minutes to get here. This airplane has been flying now for 6 years in total. First flight was in May 2017. No, wait, huh? This is an Embraer 190. Look at the winglets. That's the previous one. Pressed on the wrong label on Flight Radar there. Apologies for that. This is KLM flight 1856, returning from Düsseldorf. Obviously an Embraer 190. 35 minutes of flight time. And a butt shot to boot. Squeaky brakes on an Embraer. Now there's a first. First flight of this airplane was in October 2013. So this is a 10-year-old airplane. Let's quickly turn back. EasyJet A320 arriving from Venezia or Venice. Venezia. Let's see, 2 airplanes on the glide slope. No, 3. A bit higher still. Oh man, where is Jerry when you need him? Somebody has to take in the glide slope shots. We're all morally obligated to take a Jaeger shot in on his behalf. Right, this is an A320 from EasyJet, now touching down, returning from Venice. 1 hour 43 minutes of flight time. Austrian registered, Alpine on the radio. This airplane began flying in February 2015, making it 8 years old. Hey, Adriaan, Fanny Kerst. I did already say Merry Christmas to you, Captain Eddie Boss, didn't I? Or if I didn't, my apologies if I totally forgot, but I think I did. But just in case, Merry Christmas if I didn't. Alrighty, the first queen, it is visible as number 3 back in the north, preceded by an Embraer 190 arriving from Humberside and an Embraer 190 arriving from Cardiff. Now, KLM flight 1486 is up first. Embraer 190 arriving from Humberside. 36 minutes of flight under its belt. 9-year-old airplane, not containing Captain Wheelie. First flight February 2014. Next. Hey, what is this? Merry Christmas everyone. The sun actually coming out from behind the clouds momentarily, creating a bit of shade and a shady figure waving you Merry Christmas. Right, KLM flight 1486 we saw just now, and this is KLM flight 1060. I'm just going to follow the touchdown and then back to the Queen. This is another Embraer 190 arriving from Cardiff, sorry, Cardiff. 52 minutes of flight time. A 9-year-old airplane, began flying in January 2014. You can see the sun is starting to shine over here. This isn't Captain Wheelie. No. Alright, well, in that case, it is back to the Queen, the first Queen of the show. The entire squad, the quad squad is complete. The A340, the A380 is also coming, and now also the 747s are coming. Also, I see that we have crossed the 1,000 likes. Thank you so much for that, ladies and gentlemen. What a nice sign of support. And also, thank you, JD, for 4 months of membership already. He writes, 1,000 likes accomplished. Merry Christmas, everyone. I wholeheartedly concur. Merry Christmas, everyone. And thank you so much for your continued support, JD. Hope that you are going to stay on as a valued member for many more months to come. Let me quickly go back to the camera controls. Here we have a Queen Atlas Air flight 7482. It's a 747-400 arriving from Atlanta, Georgia. 7 hours and 37 minutes underway. 25 years old. First flight October 1998. Let's look and listen. Almost feels like I can feel the droplets of spray over here on my face. Holy moly, that was a gorgeous landing if you ask me. And there's more up ahead, ladies and gentlemen. The upcoming hour, it is happy hour, the A380. And at least 2 or maybe even 3 more 747s. I did not count, so I'm not sure how many exactly there were coming, but I think there were 4 or 5 in total, and then the A380 as well. So the first Queen has landed. More is underway. And Jolien is watching sick at home. That is so unfortunate, being sick during Christmas. Beterschap, Jolien. All right, now back to the other planes, I should say. Not the older, but the other planes. Our next airplane to arrive is KLM flight 1986. Embraer 190 arriving from Basel. An hour and 5 minutes underway. 15 years old, first flight, October 2008. I was beginning to wonder why the footage was becoming a bit wobbly. As the wind was slowing down earlier, I switched off image stabilizer. I think it's about time to re-enable it. Let's do that just now. Image stabilizer back and enabled. There we go. Hey Yinka Spotter, Merry Christmas. Hope you tuned in just in time to see the Queen just now. Good to see you again, my friend. Hope all is well. Another 3 airplane glide slope shot. How about that? Transavia 737-800 up first, Embraer 190 up next, and a Dreamliner 10 arriving from Atlanta, Georgia as number 3. This is Transavia. It's a Transavia flight, I should say, but it is ETF Airways. It is an all-white ghost livery airplane flying for Transavia, 737-800. Arriving from Barcelona. Flight time 1 hour and 54 minutes. That's par for the course. Looks like Croatian registered. If I recall correctly, that is a Croatian flag that I see on flight radar. 17-year-old airplane. I think maybe it's also with pilots from ETF, so maybe they will use the reversers, but alas, that's not the case. The Queen still visible in the background as we are getting a booty shot of this all-white Transavia ETF airplane. Now, also a big thank you to Mr. Biker himself. Paul, thank you so much for gifting 5 AMS Live memberships just now. If there's one person who shouldn't be gifting anything because he's doing more than enough as it is already, it is you, my friend. Thank you so much for everything that you have done over the past year in support of the channel as a moderator. If there's one person who should not have to do any more than what he has been doing already, it is you, Paul. Thank you so much. But still, thank you so much for those memberships that you just now gifted. Don't forget to say thank you to Paul, to Yorkshire Biker, if you are one of the recipients. And welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge, those 5 new members. But really, Paul, you shouldn't have. If there's one person who does more than enough for the channel as it is you, my friend. Thank you so much for that. This is KLM flight 1534, Embraer 190, arriving from Darlington/Teesside. Short flight, 44 minutes. plane began flying in August 2010, making this 13 years old. I think we might get a booty shot to boot. Right, well, no sooner has the small plane left the runway or the big one is already touching down. KLM Flight 622, 787-10 Dreamliner returning home from Atlanta, Georgia. Just look at how the wing flex dissipates once those spoilers go up. Gorgeous lighting as well. Beautiful. Now, this 787-10 Dreamliner landed after 7 hours and 27 minutes of flight, 3 years old, first flight May 2020. Pretty soon more is coming. Let's see. Also a big thank you to Dog Point Movies, who just now gifted a membership, and I see that Sam was the recipient of said membership. Thank you so much for your support, Dog Point Movies, and welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge, Sam. Now, we have a few more 747s underway. The A380 is also expected. Let me quickly do a rundown of what is coming in the upcoming hour. Look at this. The 747 that we saw just now land. The next airplane is probably going to be the Singapore Airlines 747 arriving from Nairobi, now flying over the southwestern province of Zeeland. The A380 is approaching Dutch airspace, is expected around 1:05 p.m. Behind it is the Saudia 747 arriving around 1:07 p.m. Those are the last airplanes of today's show. I'm going to stick around until all of them have landed. So, yeah, the Queens and King are coming. And the way the 747 arriving from Nairobi is flying, it looks like it is going to fly over along the coast to the north, which means it will pass us on the left, which means we might even get to see it on the downwind leg as it moves north, and then we'll probably make two right-hand turns to first fly base and then turn final to establish on the localizer. Means that I am also going to zoom out a little bit with flight radar looking a bit to the west so that we can see when that airplane is coming, because the weather is so open. We should be able to see a 747 on the downwind leg when it does approach in a few minutes. Right, our next airplane is Vueling Flight 1377 arriving from Alicante, Airbus A320, flight time 2 hours and 12 minutes as we speak. 16-year-old airplane, first flight May 2007. If you wonder what you are hearing, that's someone on an electrical bicycle with thick tires that makes a lot of noise. Now, thank you so much, Rob, for just now gifting a membership. I see that Yillard was the recipient of the membership. For some reason I see that message before before the message of the gifted membership on my computer, but not on the phone. And also a big thank you to Barbs for your continued support. 6 months of membership already. Barb's right, Merry Christmas, boy and all. Awesome streaming. Thank you so much for your kind words, Barbs. Always good to see you, and I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for your continued support, and I hope you will stay a valued member for many more months to come. Thank you so much, Barbs, and Merry Christmas to you and yours. This is Vueling Flight 1377. Airbus A320 from Vueling, arriving from Alicante, touching down after 2 hours and 14 minutes. 16-year-old airplane, first flight made 2007. Nice. Right, now let's see, where is that 747? Now flying over the port of Rotterdam. Also 777-200 arriving from Guayaquil. That is flying west of the Netherlands. Turkish A321 is looking like the first. Oh yeah, that's also an airplane I saw on flight radar earlier. That is also interesting to watch. Latam Cargo 767, that is a special livery, which I have never seen before. It is approaching and we'll see it soon. Very much something worth sticking around for, together with all the other treats that are still ahead of us. Can anybody confirm the A380 has just entered Dutch airspace? Can someone confirm to which runway it has been assigned? I'm thinking center, knowing our luck. Hey, Florida says confirmation A380 coming to Polderbaan. That is good news. Now, then the only question is, will the Saudia 747 behind it also go to Polderbaan? We'll know soon enough. It's still in German airspace, but that is the last question then. Unless it gets really busy and they're going to send the Latam Cargo, for instance, to the other runway. That would be a bummer. Now, the A321, faintly visible. Our first next airplane, Turkish flight 1961. And the next airplane should be a 737 arriving from Prague. Should be turning onto the glide slope from the right. Well, I'm not seeing it just yet. Maybe a bit lower. That could be. Oh yeah, it's right below the Turkish already. Right, where is that 747? That is now flying over Leiden. It will have to make a little bit of a left-hand turn in order for us to see it in a moment. Also a 777 arriving from Guayaquil that is coming this way. I'm looking left of me to see if I can spot it already. It should be flying more or less directly towards me. So, not the biggest of silhouettes when it's facing you from the front. Right. 747 is now near my place of residence. Right, now maybe the 747 is going elsewhere. Is it going to a different runway? Anyway, Turkish flight 1961, arriving from Istanbul, 3 hours and 30 minutes underway, 8 years old, first flight, March 2015. The question is, where's the 747 arriving from Nairobi going to? Let's see. Well, are they going to send it to center? Is it then going... Let's see, can I see it? It should be visible if there were no clouds. Let's see, what's its altitude? 7,000 feet presumably. Just above 7,000, I can hear it. No, not seeing it, I'm hearing it. .747 portal bound also. Is that the Saudia or is that the one that is now flying over me, arriving from Nairobi? We can hear it, but we cannot see it. Might be on a traffic pattern where it crosses over Schiphol and then flies to the north, east of the glide slope. I think that is what might be happening. Assuming it is coming to the polderbaan. It changed to center, okay, so that can also happen. Hey, Bart, hoe is het, jongen? Vrolijke kerst, man. Merry Christmas. Dankjewel, dankjewel. Wat zei je? Nee, 380 komt hier naartoe, maar 747 vanuit Nairobi die gaat door. Die gaat wel blijkbaar naar center.
Nee, jammer.
Ja, maar Latam Cargo Special komt hier zo meteen naartoe. En volgens mij, nou ja, de rest volgens mij, ja, moeten we nog even kijken. Ik weet nog niet of die... We zien het wel, ja. Precies. Spreek je? Mr. V1 Aviation passing by. Bart. Lot flight 263 Embraer 190 arriving from Warsaw. And in the top part of the screen, the next airplane behind it, Embraer 190 arriving from Stuttgart. Hey, and where's the 777? Hey, A380 going to center. Oh, okay. Right. So everything is going to center. Oh, for crying out loud. Right, 777 arrival from Guayaquil, also going to center. Perfect. Well, let me enable the digital zoom then, so that we can also zoom in a bit more than just with optical zoom. Oh, that was autofocus mode. Digital zoom enabled. Right, here we go. No worries. We'll get there. First up, Embraer 190 arriving from Stuttgart, KLM flight 1870. And also a very big thank you to Carl for your super chat, who writes, wishing you and all watching a Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for that, Carl. Merry Christmas to you and yours as well. Hope everybody is still having a good time here. It's disco time on board the Embraer 190, as you guys can see. Little bit back and forth, up and down, left and right. Disco Inferno. Right, now, where is that triple? That is over there. That's a bit too much. KLM flight 755, 777-200, ER arriving from Guayaquil, Ecuador, 10 hours and 29 minutes of flight time under its belt. The airplane is 19 years old, first flight April 2004. Oh no, Latam cargo also going to that runway. That is very unfortunate. More bird traffic. Right, what's happening? Are they closing down Polderbound or something? All the heavies going to center. That is so typical. Well, again, with a bit of added digital zoom to the optical zoom, we can still see airplanes landing on center quite well from over here, so not all is lost. It's just that you don't get to hear it as well as when they are landing right in front of us. Now, thank you so much, Alvin, for your super chat. $1 for every time a heavy gets allocated 18C. Well, I don't want to bust your balls then, mate, but you're $1 short then. Because not only the 777, but the Latam cargo 767 special livery, the 747. And the A380, will it also go to... The A380 was also assigned to center, right? Man. I've said it before, I'll say it again. We have to gather at some point at Schiphol with pitchforks and torches and just demand, go over to ATC, to LVNL, and demand better conditions for us, the viewers. Now this is Latam cargo, flight 1501, Boeing 767-300ER, special livery, Avion Solidario, arriving from Miami, Florida. 8 hours and 19 minutes underway. The airplane is 22 years old. First flight, July 2001. Man. Nice lighting though. Still wobbly footage despite the image stabilizer. That's to do with the wind. And Alvin made good on the dollar for each airplane. I was kidding, mate, but thank you. You know I was just kidding, right? Man, stupid ATC mother effers. Right, well, Singapore Airlines cargo, Boeing 747-400, arriving from Nairobi, flight 7343, flight time 8 hours 40 minutes. It's a 747-400, 19 years old, first flight February 2004. Argue that seeing them from the side like this is even something you cannot see from this runway. So, particularly if there's high humidity and you can also see cloud fluff, it can actually be quite nice to look at, even though it is quite far away. Wow. Sally in the foreground, did you see her? Sally the seagull. Unfortunately, one of her relatives bumped into a triple, I believe it was, from United the other day. Radome severely damaged. And indeed, Ton ATC annoying again and again and again. Indeed, no Christmas spirit from ATC Incubus. Right, well, everything is going to center now, it seems. That is interesting. Including all the little itty bitty airplanes that are coming in between. This is a 737-700 KLM flight 1444, arriving from Aberdeen. Flight time an hour, 15 years old, first flight October 2008. Stupid ATC. Right. Let's see. The next quad is going to be the A380. flying base, or is it still downwind? There's a label in front. I cannot see if it is oriented still to the north or to the west. Either way, it is number 4 or 5 or so. This is KLM flight 1766. KLM Embraer returning from Frankfurt will be followed by an Air France A320 that is approaching from Paris Charles de Gaulle. Hey. Hey, dankjewel. Hey, gelukkig nieuwjaar alvast, Roelof. Werkt ze nog? Officer Roelof, who was also already on patrol before I was going live. Just saying his bye and happy holidays in case we don't see each other again. Air France flight 1640, Airbus A320 arriving from Paris Charles de Gaulle. 48 minutes of flight time. Airplane 20 years old, first flight February 2003. Oh. Alright, well, next up, 7879 Dreamliner arriving from Las Vegas, KLM flight 636. And the A380, where is it? 2 airplanes further back. Visibility is good, so I'm just wondering. No, that is the next airplane. Yes. Super zoom, very pixelated. But there it is. North of Wormerveer. The Emirates A380 Super. It will be landing on the wrong runway. Those mofos from ATC. They are again tormenting us with their randomness. Oh, Alvin, thank you so much for your super chat. $1 for every pixel in that frame. Well, that is definitely true, mate, but at least we get to see it already well in advance. There is still a 747 expected. I don't dare to ask where it is going to, but probably center. Anyway, this is Emirates flight 147, the daily flight, the Emirates A380 between Dubai and Amsterdam. Normally speaking, at this moment in the air, it would have flown for 6.5 hours or so. Today, 7 hours and 15 minutes. That makes it a longer flight than normal. Probably a lot of headwind underway. The airplane is 8 years old, first flight March 2015. It is still the old standard livery. Our members have access to an emoji with the latest iteration, the ribbon tail, which will be the new norm in years to come. Now, there is another 747 expected shortly after this A380. This is not yet the last airplane of the show. The 747 behind it will be. Hey Dirk, goedemiddag is het. Merry Christmas. Just in time to catch a glimpse of the last minutes of the stream. Now, unfortunately, traffic all is going to center at the moment, including the A380. Now, just north of Purmerend is Saudia flight 933, a 747-400. And quickly zooming out so that I can at least turn to the computer for a moment. Say a big thank you to JD, who just now gifted 5 AMS Live memberships as a small celebration of 1200 likes, no less than 1200 likes. Thank you all so much for the support, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, JD, for 5 gifted memberships. But I think you and Austrian Wolf have spent your budget with Project 900 or whatever you guys called it. Really unnecessary to donate more, man. Thank you so much. Nonetheless, if you were one of the recipients of the gifted memberships JD just now gifted, don't forget to say Dankeschön und frohe Weihnachten natürlich. Thank you so much, JD, and thank you all so much for dropping no less than 1200 likes on this stream. Tremendous. Thank you all so much. Now, the Emirates A380, the penultimate airplane of the day. Well, not literally, because there are a few airplanes in between, but the Saudia 747 will be the last airplane for today. If you are a member, don't forget to use your custom emojis. The Emirates and the A380. Buttshot, you can use it. You're always allowed to use custom emojis whenever you see fit, and even if you don't see it fit. There we go. The sun is out, and what a scene it is over here. Look at, again, it looks a bit dreamy. Blue sky to the southwest. The wind is coming from this direction more or less, so, and it does seem like the polderbaan is closed or something. I did not have the time to verify this, but it does very much look like it, which is weird because polderbaan is one of the 2 preferential runways, normally always open. Now, quick run back to the computer. Because I want to say a big thank you to Marco as well. Marco just now gifting 5 memberships. Dankjewel, Marco. Thank you so much for your support. Very generous of you. If you are one of the recipients of the donated memberships from Marco, don't forget to say thank you. Welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge, those new members. Marco, dankjewel. Thank you so much for that. Now, this is Vueling. And oh, now I'm losing everything, and the airplane and the chat. First, let's go back to, if I can see the airplane. Vueling flight 8353, A320 arriving from Valencia. .737 arriving from Munich is next, which is over there. However, I am going to see if I can see the last airplane of the day. Saudia A3 Saudia 747 400 arriving from Jeddah. Now, also seems that the first airplane to Polderbaan is also again coming. There we go. So it does look like the runway is being used again. Just only after all the awesome airplanes have landed on the wrong runway. So unfortunate, so unfair. Then again, we did have a good run before this all happened. This is Saudia cargo for me, and for today, the last airplane of the day. I'm going to wrap it up after this airplane has landed and do some Christmas celebrations. Well, not really, but do have to do some shopping still. This is Saudia cargo, flight 933, Boeing 747-400, arriving from Jeddah. Flight time 5 hours and 35 minutes. It is 28 years old, this airplane. The first flight of this airplane was in December 1994. Let's bring those pixels in a little bit. And Ross says, perfect sound today. Almost forgot to check. Well, I did forget to check actually. But I still don't know what happened 2 days ago. I agree with many of you that what you were hearing initially sounded a lot like a connection. But everything was perfectly tight. It wasn't moist. Nothing had gotten wet. It was just connected to everything was connected to one another as it has been since I've been doing this. There was nothing to see. However, when I did change the settings to lower volumes for both ambient and for voiceover, it went away and never came back, the crackling. So I think maybe the mic was too hot to begin with. You live, you learn. Back to the default settings then, and never touch it again. Right, Saudia cargo, the last airplane of the day, 28-year-old airplane, about to touch down on center. And you can see it is using the reversers. You can see not a lot of traffic has landed on that runway yet. Still a lot of spray being produced. Right, well, just to show you how much we were zoomed in with optical zoom, and then when it goes smaller, that is digital zoom. And Sally in the foreground also wanting to say Merry Christmas to you all. There she is. Hey there, Sally. Well, it's time for Sally and me to say goodbye. Thank you all so much for joining me here on this Christmas day. I had a wonderful time and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. If you haven't done so already, but you did like what you saw, don't forget to drop another like in the pond of likes. Thank you all so much for joining me here. Thanks for all your support. Thanks to everyone who was so kind to donate memberships or become a member themselves. Thanks to everyone for your generous super chats and super stickers. And thanks for the generous PayPal donations that also were given today. Your support is overwhelming, and without you guys this channel wouldn't be anything. Thank you all so much for that. And also a big thank you to all the moderators for once again making the stream a nice place to be in, accessible to newcomers. Thank you all so much. Merry Christmas to you all. I wish you all a nice day. Hope to see you again on the next one. Weather permitting, maybe tomorrow, otherwise later in the week. But I will be back soon and I hope that you will be there with me. If you want to stay updated of upcoming live streams, your best way is to subscribe and hit the bell icon. You're not doing that for me, you're just doing that so that you get a notification when I'm going live again. Hope to see you on the next one. Be safe, don't eat too much, enjoy the holidays, and I will see you all again soon. Bye for now.